Lesson 5.6 is about reflection. The essential question for today is how can you use reflections to classify a pattern? So first we have to define what a reflection is. A reflection, by definition, is a part of a transformation when a figure is reflected in a line called the line of reflection. So let's say you have a figure, and let's say we have a bird here. When we have a reflection, that means you're going to have a line that's called a line of reflection. And think of this line of reflection as a mirror. And you're going to have a reflection on the opposite side of that line. And what happens is you're going to flip them, and basically you're going to have a mirror image of the original figure that you had. So this is the original, and this is going to be the image, which is, again, the mirror image, same size and shape. One thing that you'll have to be careful is that the distance from the original to the line of reflection should be the same from the image. So they have to equal in distance. So let's say I have a shape like this, half an arrow, and let's say this line that you see in the middle is going to be the line of reflection. Once I change, or once I transform my original figure across the line of reflection, my new figure is going to look like this. Okay, so, and as you can see, because my shape is about this much away from the line, my new image is also going to be placed on the same distance from the line of reflection. Now, we know that the first example was an example of a reflection. Let's go ahead and see the second one. I have a figure like this, and my line of reflection is going to be in the middle. If I flip this over, and if I end up with a figure like this, would it be a reflection? Now, the answer is going to be no, because although the distance may look pretty much the same, this is an example of translation, not a reflection. So when you see something like this is not a reflection. Now, just like yesterday, we are going to look into some figures on a coordinate plane, and you're going to have two different reflection, one on the x-axis and then the other one on the y-axis. So let's go ahead and start with reflecting a figure in the x-axis. So let's say I have a triangle ABC with these following points or vertices, and I'm going to go ahead and plot them or graph them first in order to find out my reflection. So I drew a 5x5 coordinate plane. It doesn't have to be 5x5, but I do have numbers up to 4, so I wanted to make sure I have enough room. So let's go ahead and graph point A, B, and C, where A is going to be -1, 2, so I go 1 to the left and 2, you go up, so you're going to have a point A right there. For point B, you're going to have 2 and 3, so you go 2 right and 3 up. And for vertex C, you're going to have 4 to the right and then 1 up. And you're going to have a triangle ABC once you connect all 3 dots. Now, once I have my original shape, original figure is triangle ABC, I'm going to go ahead and try to find A prime, B prime, C prime. From the lesson yesterday, we know that when you have the prime, it's going to be the image of the original figure. So for A, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how far away A is from the x-axis. So this x-axis is going to be my line of reflection. So I'm going to see how far this is. A is going to be 1, 2 units away from the axis. So I am going to go ahead and draw a dot 2 away from the x-axis for my A prime. And then I move on to B and try to find out B prime. So B is going to be 1, 2, 3 away from the x-axis. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 away from the x-axis. And then last but not least, I have C, which is going to be right here, away from it, just 1 unit down. And then after that, I'm just going to connect all the dots and create the second triangle. Now, once you connect the dots, you can tell that the first original shape and the second one that we made, the image, are going to be identical. Let's go ahead and find out the coordinate points for triangle image and see what kind of pattern we are going to find out here. So I wrote down triangle A prime, B prime, and C prime with the parentheses. So we're going to find out the actual points that would be filled in right here. So for my A prime, you're going to move -1 to the left side, and then you went down twice. So my number is going to be -1, comma, -2. For my B, I am going to be right here, so I move 2 to the right, and then 3 down, so it's going to be 2, comma, -3. And for my C, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, comma, -1. So 4, comma, -1. Now, once you have this number and compare it with the original number, you're going to find a pattern. You're going to see something's different. Some numbers are going to be the same, some numbers are going to be different. And if you look at this, the first numbers, which are going to be your x values, they're always going to be the same if you're flipping a figure from a one side of the coordinate plane, either on the top or the bottom, to the opposite side. Now, when you do that, the cool thing is you're going to see your y values changing to its opposite number. So if it's 1, it becomes -1. If it's 3, it becomes -3. So you're going to see that y values are going to change to its opposite. And then x values are going to stay the same. You're not going to see any changes from the x values. So you can just leave the x values by itself and just write them over. What if you are reflecting a figure in the y-axis or the vertical line that you have on the coordinate plane? So again, I'm going to give you a figure and let's figure out how to do this. Let's say you have a triangle D, E, and F, and the points are going to be as follows. So I'm going to go ahead and create the coordinate plane and plot the triangle to see if we can find its reflection. So I have the coordinate plane drawn, and we'll start with D. D is going to be -2, 5. So 1, 2 to the left, and 5 top. And then for E, you move 4 left and 3 up. And then the last one, F, is going to be 3 left and 1 down. And then you're going to go ahead and connect the dots again. So we have a triangle D, E, and F. So we're going to find the triangle D prime, E prime, and F prime with finding the distance from D to the y-axis. So this is going to be the line of reflection, and we're going to see how far each dot or each point is going to be from the line of reflection. So we're going to see D, which is going to be right here, and it's 2 units from the y-axis, so I'm going to go 2 units away from the y-axis on the opposite side, and I'm going to label it D prime. Same thing with E. I'm going to be right here, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 away, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. And then for F, I am going to start from here, and then 1, 2, 3, so 1, 2, 3 to the right. And then again, I'm going to go ahead and connect all the dots. And when you look at them, your original triangle, DEF, and your image triangle, D prime, E prime, F prime, should look the same. So let's go ahead and find out the coordinate points for this new shape. So let's go ahead and see. For D prime, you're going to move 2 right and 5 up, so that's going to be both positive numbers, 2,5. And then for E, again, it's going to be a positive number. You move 4 to right and then 3 up, so it's going to be 4,3. And then F is going to be 3, -1. Now let's look at both of these coordinate points to see if we can find a pattern. If we see the x values, this is -2 for D, and then for D prime, it's going to be +2. And then for E, it's going to be -4, E prime, it's going to be a +4. F, -3, F prime, +3. So you can conclude that all the x values are going to change into the opposite, which is going to be a positive. And then again, when you see the y values are going to stay the same. 3 and 3, -1 and -1, so the y values stay the same. So how can you remember with the x and y value and which one is going to change for which axis? Just think about it this way. If you are moving or reflecting a figure in the y-axis, y values are going to stay the same. If you are moving it through the x-axis, your x values are going to stay the same, but then the opposite, which are the y values, are going to change. So the key point of this lesson is this. If you are reflecting a figure into the x-axis, which are going to be the horizontal line, you're only going to change the y values. And like I said, they're going to be the opposite values. So if they were positive numbers, it's going to change into negative. If it was a negative number, it's going to change into a positive number. If it's going to be reflected to y-axis, which are going to be the vertical line, you're only going to change the x values. And same thing, you're going to change the positive to the negatives, negatives to the positives. So without even graphing the figures, you can change the numbers into the opposite sign and find out the sets for the reflecting figure. You can go ahead and start working on page 230 to 231 4 to 18 questions. And if you can write a little smiley face next to your name when you are turning in your assignment, I would know that you watched this video. Thank you.